watching Sunday Sound Off with Frank Bull.
Welcome back to Sunday Sound Off, and our first hot topic of the night. The NFL wants two teams in Los Angeles, the Chargers and Raiders, both on the block for that move. Chiefs owner Clark Hunt says if that happens, he wants the NFL to realign because, in effect, that each have an extra home game. What's the bottom line here, guys? Tim, we'll start with you. They've been playing the Chargers and Raiders. Well, the Chargers in San Diego for 50 years, the Raiders for a long time on the West Coast, whether Oakland or L.A. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. First of all, I think two teams would be great in L.A. And it's the glam, the glitz of being in L.A. The pretty people are out there. But, yeah, you're exactly right, though. If for some reason they do the realignment and the Chiefs and other AFC West teams aren't happy with that predicament that they're in because of the one extra home game, then they shouldn't do it, because you don't want to break up how would you break up Oakland and Kansas City and even San Diego and Kansas City? A lot of storied games, a lot of great rivalries. The great rivalries of football are slowly dying away. Notre Dame and Michigan was a great rivalry. They don't play anymore, and because of all this realignment and everything else going on in the NCAA, even in the NFL now, you don't have as many rivalry games, and that's one of my favorite rivalry games. Got to keep it going.
I knew you'd slip Notre Dame in there somehow. TJ, go ahead.
Well, look, if the Chargers or the Raiders want to ruin some history, that's really up to them. What we do know is that the NFL has to make 32 NFL owners happy, which is why the NFL relocation fee is $600 million, which would mean $1.2 billion would go to the other 30 owners if two teams were to relocate to L.A. And look, yeah, they would realign. If the Chiefs wanted them to realign, I'm guessing Denver would have a gripe with it as well. It wouldn't just be the Chiefs, but they got to make a lot of people happy, not just two teams that want to relocate to L.A.
Saran, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, this is old news. I mean, we've talked about this for over a year on the program. I had some people around the league tell me that, look, it was a race to get your stadium done. The last two that didn't get their stadium done. This goes back to when the Vikings and Bills were trying to get stadiums done. They were possibilities to move out there. Even when the Chiefs were trying to get renovations done. The LA thing has been there to try to force towns to get a stadium done. Last three teams were the Rams, they were the Chargers, and they were the Raiders. It looks like St. Louis is going to get it done. That leaves it to the Raiders and Chargers. They've had this plan together all along. They will not have two AFC or two NFC teams in the same town. They'll flip-flop it. You lose that rivalry, but ultimately it's what you have to do to make it happen. And now the question is, where do they go from here, and how long before the Jaguars are in London?
There you go. That'll be international then. Here's our second hot topic of the evening. If Les Miles is available, does Mizzou pursue him? And TJ, his buyout at LSU is $15 million, and I hear the alumni want to ante up, and they'll do it.
Yeah, you have to remember that the South is filled with insane people. I know from experience, in particular, the state of Louisiana, they're willing to do it. And I think that's the problem that Missouri runs into, is that the neighborhood they moved into when they joined the SEC is filled with teams that are willing to spend that kind of money on coaches. I don't know if Missouri is willing to spend that much money. $5 million a year. They were willing to do it for Gary Pinkel at $4 million after over a decade of success at that program. Are they willing to pony up the dough for somebody like Les Miles? I don't think so. I don't think it's realistic. They may want to pursue him, but they've got about as good a chance at Les Miles as they do at John Gruden.
Okay, Sarent?
No, absolutely not. Missouri's not going to spend that kind of money. Are you kidding me? They won't get the buyout together. They won't meet the price it takes to get him signed, to get a contract done with him. No chance. It's a pie-in-the-sky dream. They're not going to get it done with Mark Richt. I would be stunned. Look, I'll be happy to admit I'm wrong if and when it happens. But there will not be a big-time established BCS coach walk in at Missouri. They found Gary Pinkel out of the MAC. They'll be looking at the MAC. They'll be looking at, the new Conference USA, whatever it is, the CAA. That's where they're going to be going. It's going to be Fuente. It's going to be Herman. It's going to be somebody that they can get in about the $2 million or less range.
Tim?
Well, I think that obviously Les Miles would make a big splash if he did come to Missouri, but I don't think it's going to happen either. And one of the knocks on Les Miles over the years, he's never been able to really develop a quarterback. And when you look at the future of the University of Missouri Tiger football, it's Drew Lock, kid right from here from Kansas City. And then you got to find somebody who could develop that kid, because he's got a lot of skill, a lot of talent. And if they want to get to the upper echelon of the SEC again, they got to have a quarterback.
All right, we're getting a lot of reaction to this topic from Twitter. John says Les Miles and Mizzou would be great, but I doubt if it happens. And our final hot topic, what are your thoughts on the NCAA versus KU freshman Sheck Diallo? And Sereno, we talk about this a lot. Is that our savior American, St. Mary's of the one and dones, whatever this high school is in New York. And he isn't the first guy to have a problem with, getting accredited here.
Yeah, sketch basketball high school factory A, B, C, whatever it is. Look, this is it. This is how it works. The kid can play ball, and he's trying to get eligible. Now, I understand he's a bright kid, and maybe everything's totally on the up and up, but I don't know. He's from Africa. I don't know how anybody can know what all went on in this kid's past. The bottom line is this, I believe, that the NCAA has a problem with who his guardian is. Is he on the up and up? And this is just being dragged out. This is their way of suspending him. If we don't clear him, he has to miss games. We can't really throw an 8-game suspension down on a kid that we don't really know what it is he's done wrong. I think academically he's probably fine. I think it's the relationship, which how can any of us know when somebody moves again from Africa exactly who it is they're friends with, who it is legit, and who's just there for 9 months to get a payday when he goes in the first round of the NBA draft in 9 months?
Tim?
Where is that kid from again?
Mali.
He's from Africa.
Africa, okay. One of the things, I had a little bit of experience with this recruiting process, and when you go into a high school, the first thing you do, even before you see the head coach, even before you get the chance to bump into the player, you go and get their transcript, and that's the first thing that you got to get. You put it in your briefcase, you go back to the college, you go back to the university, and you give it to the head coach, and he gets it to the right people, and they search through that thing, and they look through it to make sure that all the core courses are taken care of. And the NCAA is not going to bend on this kind of thing. That's why they're there. So, I don't know if it's going to happen for this kid. I feel bad for the kid. I'd like to see him play basketball and be a part of this great KU tradition of basketball. But if he doesn't have the core classes, doesn't have the core classes.
TJ, in the NCAA, they're in it for, infractions, etc. Is it really up to them to vet a kid for his grades, or is that up to the college to vet the kid's grades?
Well, depending on who you ask, you'll get a different answer. Jay Billis says yes, but a lot of people who are a part of the establishment say no. So it's all subjective at that point. I think the problem here is that we're all trying to read between the lines with this thing. We don't really know anything, as Seren mentioned earlier, and I think that's the big problem. That's KU's problem, is that they feel like the NCAA doesn't actually have any standing here, and they're unwilling to share any information. They've gone out and they've done their own investigations. They feel like nothing is going on that's incorrect or impermissible. The kid speaks 4 languages. He's on pace to be on the honor roll this semester at KU. The kid's clearly intelligent. They feel like his track record is sterling, but the NCAA won't communicate with anybody about it, and I think that, a lack of transparency, is an issue.
All right, up next, we're going to get some final thoughts from the panel. It'll be their time to sound off on anything that's on their minds. You're watching Sunday Sound Off.